boy, well, Apple is getting pretty heavy. I think she's about as heavy as she's going to get now. And her puppies are due in about 3 to 5 days, probably more like 5. But we'll see what happens. We were at the vet this morning, and we had an x-ray taken. Now, in case you think x-rays are dangerous for the puppies, that's why we wait until the last few days before the litter is born. There could be damage to developing bones by x-rays or something along those lines if you did it way too early. But by this time, the bones have calcified, and there's no more possibility of presenting a danger to those little, well, not so little anymore, those big embryos in there. So, final puppy count, Apple. Oh, well, what was that? God bless you. Final puppy count, Apple, is 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we kind of figured she was going to have 3 puppies. We would like to have a larger litter if possible, although when the litter gets real large, like 7 or 8, there could be other problems that are inherent with that sort of a birth. So 3 should work out just fine. I don't like 1s and 2s. They will present other problems. So the vet did x-rays, and I'm going to show those to you. And it's very interesting to see, and you may not be able to make too much of it at first. But let's take a look at the x-rays and see what you can see, and I'll kind of help you along with my explanations. Now, this is an x-ray lateral view, meaning that it was taken from the side. She was lying on her side. And if you look in the womb area that we're slowly zooming in on, you will see all kinds of little images that wouldn't normally be there on a dog that's not pregnant. What we look for in order to make an accurate puppy count is skulls and spinal cords. And you'll also see rib cages and some legs sticking here and there, but the skulls and spinal cords are the best way to count puppies. Now, if you're having difficulty still seeing where each puppy is, let me help you a little bit with that. Here I have highlighted puppy number 1 in yellow. You can see in the upper right his or her skull, and then the spinal cord emerging from that. Now, it looks like the puppy's all squished up, but you have to remember that this is just a two-dimensional view, and there is a third dimension, which we can actually see in a few minutes when I get to another view. Here you see puppy number 2, all kind of stretched out on Apple's belly, but the lateral view actually gives you a nice full view of this puppy's skeletal structure. And here's number 3, the one that's farthest away from the birth canal. Again, looking a little squinched, but actually I'm sure quite comfortable, as you'll see in the next view. This is a view from the top instead of from the side. Very clear, you can see now I have all 3 of them highlighted. We have number 1 in yellow, and that one is stretched across Apple's body, which is why it looked very scrunched up in the first view. In green, we have puppy number 2, who's nicely stretched out, and if you remember from the other view, that one is considerably below the other 2, so their heads are not touching each other. And in purple, you'll see over on Apple's side, nicely stretched out, and above puppy number 2, if we remember what it looked like from the side, that one is looks kind of like all 3 of them are putting their heads together, doesn't it? But we know that they're not, in terms of vertical position, they're not all in the same place. A couple of things that are really encouraging about this x-ray. Number 1, all of their heads at this point, so far, are facing toward the birth canal. If you look at that opening, that gaping opening just to the right of puppy number 1, looks kind of like the entrance to the Lincoln Tunnel. That is actually Apple's pelvic opening, which leads into the birth canal. And that's where every puppy has to pass through. So if they stay in that direction until the time they actually start emerging through the birth canal, that does eliminate the problem of having any breech position deliveries, which are always a little bit more troublesome. The other thing that's really neat, because the x-rays are digital, it's very easy for the vet to do some precise measurements. And we find that the skulls are all about 3 centimeters in diameter, and the width of Apple's pelvic opening is about 4.2 centimeters. So since the head is the least flexible part of the skeleton, that's the one that has to fit through the pelvic opening. And, if it gets stuck, we could have some real problems and have to do a C-section. But right now, hopefully, none of the heads will get stuck. So that's about it, Apple. I hope I was going to say, I hope she knows what's coming, but she doesn't know what's coming. She knows something is coming. She hasn't been acting like she always does. She's been acting very motherly and very sweet and very calm. And she's doing some of the things we always expect them to do in the last few days, the panting and that sort of stuff. Haven't seen any nesting activity yet, but we'll get there. So, we'll keep you informed. Apple, good luck.
Leave me alone.
Apple,
I don't want to talk about it.
maybe she's mad at me.